I'm Cindy Housen, Chief Data and AI Strategy Officer at ThoughtSpot, the agentic analytics platform. You might detect an accent. I am joining you from the East Coast of America, married to a Brit, a Yorkshireman, leads. And, okay, good. And you might also be pleased to know that my career in data and analytics started 30 years ago in the great city of Slough, where I took my first Oracle DBA course. So I'll start by sharing some industry trends, a little bit about ThoughtSpot. Who is ThoughtSpot? I'll invite our customer, Bhav, to come up and share his journey to self-service analytics, and then we'll do a little bit of a fireside chat. So as you heard from Mike Ferguson's keynote this morning, generative AI has lit our industry on fire. And this is one prediction from Gartner, that Gartner believes that 50% of decisions will be either augmented or even fully automated by generative AI. I want you to think about, what does that mean for your jobs? What does it mean for your companies? How might you reimagine existing workflows? So I'm going to take you back in time a little bit, and I want you to think about, where is your company on its journey to building an autonomous enterprise? And how much technical debt is holding you back? So for me, my career, I started back here 30 years ago. I've written 3 business objects complete reference books. As I was sharing with a Tableau fan a few minutes ago, when I first started saying, here's how Tableau or other products, Click, Spotfire, might change reporting, I was getting hate mail from the business objects customers. Many of you might be stuck in an on-premises world, in a dashboard backlog that even if you could hire dozens more data analysts, you won't keep up with the questions that your business users have. ThoughtSpot pioneered the category of search and augmented analytics 10 years ago. Because we put in the plumbing for a patented semantic layer with ranking and usage-based knowledge graphs, when generative AI came in fall 2022, it was very easy for us to incorporate that into the workflow, still giving you trusted and governed insights. We would just say that the rest of the industry finally realized the importance of conversational analytics. Generative AI, conversational analytics, trusted semantic layers, as you heard in the keynote this morning, these are all building blocks for agentic AI. As you stitch these agents together, this is what powers the autonomous enterprise. So we often say, think big, start small, but be prepared to scale fast. So how would you scale faster? What are things to look for? The first, everyone should have a dedicated analyst. This is where I think of the virtual AI analyst as augmenting human potential. The other is that insights are connected and pervasive. Why should you have to log on to a separate BI tool? Get your analytics where you work, whether it's in Slack, Slides, your mobile phone. The other is that business apps become intelligent apps. So embed them inside Workday, ServiceNow, or Salesforce. How do you do that? This is the full ThoughtSpot agentic analytics platform. It is a full platform. You've seen a lot of demos on the show floor today of just a conversational agent. That would be Spotter, our AI agent. If you're not ready for that, if you really want augmented, governed dashboards with beautiful visualizations, but also no dead ends, Not that a data analyst has to build it and it's whispered down the line. You can start there. Smart apps I've talked about, or Analyst Studio. If you don't have your data well modeled, fully baked inside, fill in the blanks, Snowflake, Databricks, Google BigQuery, Redshift, that's okay. With the Analyst Studio, we let you go from a Python notebook or just a spreadsheet, mash it together, and then put your AI agent on top of it in minutes. The plumbing, the semantic model, and the data management is what gives you governance rather than chaos. Don't take just my word for it. I was quite pleased to have my former employer, Gartner, position ThoughtSpot in the leaders quadrant, citing specifically our agentic analytics capabilities and our singular focus. It is not an afterthought or a side hustle for ThoughtSpot. It is all we do on our mission to make a fact-driven world. But don't just take my word for it. I want you now to hear from Bhav Patel, the Director of Data from Huel, and also the leader of the community and host of the Crop Talks. Bhav, welcome.
Thanks, Cindy. Can you guys hear me okay? Great, so I don't need to shout, actually. Okay, cool. It's going to deafen some of you. I was going to do that thing where I run on stage like they do in America. It's like, ah. Okay, I thought I probably wouldn't. I hope the humor lands, because I can't hear any of you, so I need to see the smiles when I tell a joke, okay? Because it genuinely will kill my confidence today. So as Cindy said, I'm Bhav, I'm Director of Data at Huel. Please don't sell to me today, but do come and have a chat if you do want to have a chat to me. I'll start off with self-serve analytics being the biggest failure of my career as a statement. There's a podcast that me and my friend Dan, who's in the audience over there, have recorded. It's called Self-Serve Analytics is the biggest failure of my career. This was recorded pre-Huel days, so you get to hear all about all of the sort of like the pitfalls. I've only got like 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through a lot right now. So this talk is really around Huel's self-serve journey, and with some things in there I hope that you can take away yourselves. So a bit about Huel. Huel is a nutritionally complete food. That means every meal that you eat, it's not like a replacement, it's a meal, contains all of the essential vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbs, etc., and it's vegan, it's no meat, it's like dairy-free, nut-free, all of those types of things. So that's a bit about Huel. Myself, I've been in sort of like in the data space now for nearly 12, 13, 14, even 15 years. These are some of the companies I've worked at in the past. And yeah, I don't know, I quite like what I do for a living, which is always good. Do come and connect with me on LinkedIn, by the way. I'm trying to reach 100,000 followers. I'm on 9,000 right now. So there it is, there's that laugh. Cool, so I joined Huel about 6 months ago, so I can't take any credit for anything. I am now just the face of data at Huel. They probably could have done a better job picking a better face. But our data journey at Huel started back in 2019. About 70 employees, one data analyst. We worked with Snowflake, we still do. Tableau was our BI platform at the time, and we used some other technology and stuff. Over the years, as the company has grown, so has our employees. So you know, we've gone from in May 2020 to 103 employees. 173 in 21, and May 22 we had 236 employees, and that's when we brought on ThoughtSpot. And the reason why we brought on ThoughtSpot I'll cover off sort of like over the coming slides, but that's basically all the information I could find, and then there's like this 3-year gap. I call that BB, before Bhav, that I can't really figure out what happened in that time. I did look for, but I couldn't find it. So that's just a bit of a question mark. Some stuff happened between 22 and now. And that brings me to the present day, where we have 348 employees, about 6 data professionals, so 3 analysts, 3 data engineers, and myself. So we're a fairly small team, so it's quite lean, and we try to do our best supporting the entire company. So what were the challenges we were facing when we decided to move to ThoughtSpot? So from the analysts, I gathered that we had a massive bottleneck. Trying to do work in our previous BI platform was really hard. It required analysts to go in and build. You needed, if you were working from home, you needed to have VPN. It was really laborious and very, very tedious. There are performance issues, so the platform was very slow. Loading data up was really slow. Loading dashboards was really slow as well. And we have inefficient workflow, so actually building dashboards was really time consuming. So those were the kind of the three challenges that we were facing when we changed to when we decided to move over to ThoughtSpot. So have we cracked self-serve now? Let's just say this. Let's put it this way: when I ask if anyone wants a cup of tea in the office or a cup of coffee, 10 people will say yes, and then all 10 will get up and make a cup of coffee themselves. So yeah, we've cracked self-serve to a certain capacity. Thank you for the few of you that are laughing. But have we actually seen self-serve analytics improve? Right. So I pulled a data request from all of our Jira tickets over the last 5 years or whatever that stamp is. And actually, when you look at the volume of tickets, it hasn't actually changed that much. So the volumes have stayed quite steady, but using ChatGPT, I did an analysis of kind of like all the ticket names, and actually the type of requests that have come through to my team have changed from like net new builds to more decision support. So yes, in some ways, the entire data landscape at Huel has completely transformed from, can we have this dashboard? Can you update this data set? Can you add this drop down? Can you add these other filters? Blah, blah. All of that has changed quite significantly, and a lot of the work now is around trying to understand value of the initiatives that we have in the company. Adoption is always a good measure of success for a self-serve program. And keeping in mind, this is 57% of all of our employees. We probably have like 100 people in the warehouse, in our factories, who don't access ThoughtSpot. So this number is probably close to 70, 80%. So adoption is really good as well. So yeah, you know, by against that kind of like checkbox, we could probably say we have cracked self-serve. And then I spoke to my analysts how things have changed over the last few years since we moved to ThoughtSpot. And we get fewer ad hoc requests. Let's not say we don't get ad hoc requests. We still get them, but it's a lot fewer. The analysts are able to focus on meaningful work, and the shift in sort of like their roles has transitioned from BI development into data analysis-ish. Still doing fair bit of BI work, but we'll talk about the future of self-serve at Huel. And then improved accessibility and build times. Like building dashboards is like they'll whip out a dashboard within a day or 2 days. If it's a bigger one, it may take a little bit longer, but it's genuinely much quicker. So yes, from the analytics perspective and the team perspective, big check. So have we cracked self-serve? It depends on how you define self-serve, because I hear a lot of people trying to say, oh, we do self-serve. Hands up if you work in data. Great. Keep your hands up if you have a self-serve program in your company. Much fewer hands by comparison. Almost everyone put their hands up for if you work in data, but only like 20% by my estimation kept their hands up from self-serve perspective. So it's not an easy thing to crack. And final one, hands up if you've tried to crack self-serve at some point in your career in data. So more of you, not all of you, but more of you. So I thought I'd try and define what self-serve means, because it's not actually that well defined anywhere. So platform adoption, check. I mentioned that already. Speed of insights, like the ability to get some insight out of our data, check. All of our data being centralized, I think this is a critical one. There's no point trying to have a self-serve program with 50 different platforms. They all need to come into one place. All of our data goes into Snowflake, we model it, and then we surface it in ThoughtSpot. Trust in data, well, my team owns that data, so there's that accountability factor that is usually missing somewhere, and the context between our data engineering team and the organization is really, really good, because most of the analysts and the engineers are in the same team, so we back and forth a lot. Trust in people, well, I trust the people in my company to do a good job with the data and try to use it in a way that is answering the questions they need. Governance. We have not cracked governance. We have 800 live boards in ThoughtSpot. That's a lot. Given that we only have 200 monthly active users, 800 live boards or dashboards is an incredibly high number. So we haven't cracked that one yet. Fewer trivial tasks. Like I said, we've cracked that, but we still get a few. And the impact. It's hard to measure the impact, right? Like, you enable self-serve, and then how do you know if that's actually driving incremental value to your company? You don't really know. So I kept it orange. So what is the goal of the self-serve program? So why do so many data leaders pursue this? You'll see a lot of the booths out there, self-serve, AI, yeah. But why? Why are we doing this, right? is to become a data-driven organization. That is ultimately what it comes down to. You as data professionals are trying to create an environment where people in your company can make decisions with data as opposed to gut instinct. Of course, there is an element of art and science when it comes to data, but largely it's to give people the information they need to be able to make the decisions they need to make in a short space of time. So these are the characteristics of what I classify as a self-serve program, but there's still something missing, and this was my observation when I joined. Everyone's using it, and everyone's looking at numbers, and trade meeting is like just I'm flooded with data talk. But what's missing? Data literacy. So self-serve will get you to a certain point, but you kind of need data literacy at the heart of your organization. Otherwise, people are going to look at data and make wild assumptions, right? Correlation, not causation, all of those other cliches. So what does life look like after self-serve? So I've talked to you about how we got here and what the world looks like at Huel right now, but where are we going? So we can't keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we could, and no one will like say, Bhav, I'm doing a bad job. I'm doing a great job, actually, in the 6 months by my own self-reflection. But what does self-serve look like? What does life after self-serve look like? So I mentioned that the goal of any data-driven organization is to become data-driven, or any organization become data-driven. So on your left, on your y-axis there, we've got how data-driven are you as a company. And then on your right, on the bottom axis there, I've got data literacy. And the scale goes from like completely dependent on your analysts to completely autonomous, right? And I don't mean autonomous in the AI sense. I mean autonomous as in like people can do their own stuff, right? And by moving across that data literacy x-axis, your independent variable there, which is your data-drivenness, will start to go up. Obviously, this is pseudoscience. There's no hard facts into this, but it's my assessment of the world. And the self-serve impact has taken us so far, but now we kind of like, so everyone's using data at Huel. It's just kind of like, well, we really need to push the envelope on the type of work we're doing. So what are we doing and how are we doing it? So people development, it's a big part. If you're going to put data literacy at the heart of your data strategy, you need that support. So developing your people, not just your analysts, but also your stakeholders, having that collaboration between the data team and the rest of the organization is critical. Vendor relationships. I think this is really, I don't think people talk about this enough. The guys who we pay to provide us our data, so Snowflake, ThoughtSpot, all of the other vendors we work with, and it's not that many. We only work with like 4 or 5 in total, but we need to have good relationships with them to get the best out of their platform. I'm not selling the product, by the way. Right, Jordan? I told them I wouldn't sell. Conscious measurement. A lot of the places I've worked in, data is usually an afterthought. You go and do something, and it's like, oh, hey, how did it do? I don't know, you didn't fucking come to me when you were supposed to, right? So then you're trying to like rationalize a decision that's already been made and try to understand some causal impact of that decision with nothing. So I really should be a magician in my spare time. So that involves early involvement, data consulting, communication, transparency. What are we working on? What findings have we had and shared? I have a channel with our SLT team that I'm always just dumping insights into. They never respond, by the way, but our CFO came up to me and he was like, Bav, I really like that last piece of work. I was like, well, some open support would have been nice, David. Advanced analytics, so starting to move, so when you've cracked self-serve, well, nearly tripped over, when you've kind of got self-serve in a good place, you kind of like to start thinking about like what are the advanced analysis you're doing, right? Huel is an e-commerce company, so we can't rely on sort of like modern day data science. Well, you can, but you kind of need more econometric modeling. So I consider Huel closer to Coke than I do to sort of like a SaaS vendor, because Coke are out there selling products and trying to understand the impact of it. And then finally, team restructure. So I killed the concept of BI. When you've got BI in your team, they become data builders or like gatherers of dashboards and hoarders of dashboards. So I killed that concept. One of the guys in my team, he was a through and through engineer. I don't know why he was working in analytics. So I transitioned him over to data engineering. He's happy now. Luke, my data lead, he's happy now because he's got some more support. And the data analysts now work on sort of like actual stakeholder-facing work as opposed to just building and maintaining dashboards. So I'm coming to the end. Here are just some photos of like me putting my words into action. So hashtag Force Fun. This is me like dragging the company to sort of like training sessions with Heap, with ThoughtSpot, with everyone else, and we've got more and more of these coming. Conscious measurement, so defining sort of like what are the unit economics of our company look like, so that when we are building dashboards and when we're talking about revenue and numbers, people understand that it all flows down algebraically down some type of like metric ladder. And then we've also been supporting the launch of our sort of like biggest program. So our self-serve, indoctrinated here, our loyalty program. It's kind of like a self-serve program, and our TV campaign that we've got going live soon. So we've been doing a lot of work with that. I talked about advanced analytics. We start introducing like sort of more advanced econometrics into the way we work, trying to define how we're going to measure things. So we can't really A/B test, right? You can't A/B test in Sainsbury's, right? So you have to find a way to understand the work you're doing and the impact it's having on sales. So what do? You go back to old school methods of like econometrics. I did a little bit there around team branding. I'm a big advocate of branding your team, right? Otherwise, you just become like faceless names. So like all of our work now is produced in sort of like this white paper format with sort of like exec summary for people who aren't going to go and read the entire deck, but for people who are interested, the in-depth analysis is in there. And then finally, the team restructure. So this is my team right now. They're great people. Connect with them on LinkedIn if you don't connect with me, at least. So I would say self-serve analytics was the biggest failure of my career. Through nothing I've done, it's not anymore. So thank you for listening, and bring Cindy back.
That was fantastic, Bhav. So a couple things also to let you know. You cited 57% adoption rate. The industry average is only 25% of employees on average within an organization. So congratulations.
Thank you. I think it should be higher, that number. My CTO did say, Bhav, can you take out Milton Keynes or like factory and just get that number higher? I was like, no,
we're gonna give them like insights on their smartphones, so they're working in the factory. And I have a vision for your CFO, so that he's not just looking in Slack. He's gonna open his own live board. We'll have our CFO talk to your CFO. But you did also talk a lot about data literacy, and some would say we cannot do self-service analytics because our business people are not data literate. They will make a mess of things. They don't know what they're looking at. What would you say to those people?
I don't know. It's maybe controversial, but I think that's a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah.
I think if you work in sort of anything that requires making decisions and you have data available, and you need, and it will help you do your job better, there's no excuse not to use data. Sorry.
Yeah. I agree. It is a cop-out, and I think sometimes it's a cop-out because people are afraid. The business people do not want to look stupid, and they definitely don't want to misinterpret a number. And the data analysts, who their jobs, the pride of building a pipeline, of a dashboard, they don't want to lose that power. So what's been the cultural change or the fear factor in driving the organization forward?
I don't think it's a fear factor. I think it's more of a, like it's not like someone's holding a gun to anyone's head to use it. I know that's not what you're implying here, Cindy, by the way. But I think knowing how your function is doing, to be able to then sit in a trading meeting, or when the CEO will come up to you and just say, hey, tell me something about your, what's going on in your world, which it does. Like James, our CEO, he's really cool. He'll just go up to you and just say, hey, tell me a fact. Which is like, can be daunting, but it's also nice if you've got that data. So I would say it's having that information at your fingertips to be able to understand and explain to people how the initiatives you've been working on have landed, and be able to quantify it in a way that's pounds and pence or customers or subscriptions or whatever it is.
Yeah, good. And now you've taken this approach of kind of crawl, walk, run. We've heard a lot about agentic AI. You just brought in Spotter, or you've been working with Spotter. Tell us what's next at Huel with this.
So I think it comes down to data literacy, because if you've got AI integrated into your data platforms, whatever it is, people need to understand the structure of that data to be able to use any AI agent. So with ThoughtSpot, one of the things that we are doing is getting people more and more familiar with the data set that they're working with. So not just the dashboard, but the data set, so that when they ask a question into Spotter, they can get an answer that's relevant. So they'll have to select the data set they're working with and ask it. So they're not like querying the entire pool of data that we have. It's isolated to that one area.
So you've modeled it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Semantic
model.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And so when they get that answer, What do they do with it? Or what can they do with it? What do you wish they would do with it?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. What they do, I mean, large part of it is to be able to understand if something's performing or not, and then make the
So like,
relevant pivots
by the
they
way,
need.
okay, we can't buy these in the US. We only get certain Huel brands chocolate chip cookie dough.
Okay.
So Bav only has a few of these left. But maybe if you're saying like, is chocolate chip cookie dough selling more than the plain vanilla bars?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to answer those real time, because at the end, unlike a SaaS company, we're shifting goods. As a company, that's fundamentally what we do. We have goods in our warehouse and we need to shift them to
Right.
somewhere else. And we need to understand how much of something is selling, what's doing well, what's bringing back customers. Like, so we have obviously the acquisition model, which is what drives customers to buy from us. But then
Right.
there's the retention model, which is, well, what products keep our customers coming back to us. So Black Edition is our hero product by a long
Yeah.
shot. You'll see in Sainsbury's everywhere. That has like it created an industry.
Yeah.
So now we were like, well, how do we build on top of that? So we look at new flavors. We just launched Daily Greens, which is Daily Greens in a can this week. We're monitoring, last week, we're monitoring how it's doing in terms of adoption from first-time customers. Is it new customers, returning customers? We know we're going to move it into supermarkets soon.
Yep.
But our e-commerce sites gives us an insight into like, well, actually, what are people saying about it? And then what's really cool is actually in our office, our R&D department sits in the office. So all of our testing, all of our food scientists, they all sit there and work, and they take all this feedback that we provide them about what's selling well, what's repeating well. They go onto the forums. We have a really active Reddit community. So everyone from our CEO to our marketing director, they'll be on it, looking at it, responding to our hooligans, as they're called. And that will feed into like the entire cycle, from marketing strategy to trading plans to do we need to refine the recipes? So we actually pulled back our hot and savory edition because our NPS score wasn't as great.
Wasn't good for that one.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't as great. And maybe we can do something better. So we changed the recipe, changed the pack sizes, and then we relaunched it last year.
Okay. Well, disclosure, I think it's your top 10 favorite products that come as a starter pack bundle.
Yeah.
We can get those. So I have to ask an uncomfortable question. You had a red box for governance, and that can scare the life out of anyone. Is there anything on the desktop? Any dashboards on a desktop, or?
No.
Okay.
Everyone kind of has access to it to themselves. So we don't have like a board somewhere that everyone can walk past. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm just making the point that it's all server cloud-based.
Oh, sorry.
No desktop code.
No, nothing like that.
So you have visibility into what people are doing, but it sounds...
I do a meta-analysis on what people are doing.
Okay, so you see what they're doing. It sounds like we need to give you some better tools to clean up the things that they aren't using. Would that be fair?
I was speaking to Jordan about this last week.
We will work on that. That's what partnership looks like. Bhav, on behalf of ThoughtSpot and Big Data London, thank you so much for sharing your story.
That's okay.
Thank you all for attending. ThoughtSpot is at booth L70, downstairs, the purple banner in the middle. And Bhav and I will be there for some follow-up questions. I wish you a great rest of the day.
You can grab a Huel bar if you come and speak to us as well.
Yes, he has more.
No, that's what I have.
We have more down there too. So
that's what I have.
Oh, and the spotter plushie. All right.